Has it really been 8 years?
I
Wow.
think so. I was trying to remember.
Our problem upstairs, I've come to the conclusion, what we need to do is make that 1150 a dead-end street.
Which end?
At the end where by Riverdale Road.
So traffic can only come in and out from north.
Yeah.
Or have the owner live there.
Okay, we're live. So, we want to welcome everyone out to our 6 p.m. Planning Commission meeting. Sorry that we're starting a little bit late. Try and get the microphone here. We want to recognize that all of the commissioners are here with the exception of Commissioner Henstra, who is excused. We next have on our agenda time allotted for public comment, but seeing that we don't have any public participants, we will move on to the next item, which would be presentation reports by Mr. Cooper, please.
Thank you very much, and welcome to your new time slot. Even though we botched it by 10 minutes, I think it's hopefully going to work out. Just a couple of things. I was talking about this in the work session about the construction that's going to be happening in 2025. So we've been having a number of meetings with UDOT and others to kind of bring into clarity the 2025 construction schedule. So what we can expect in the area is the ramps at 4400. They hope to have that awarded and under construction by April. So that'll be kind of a spring, summer start. Right about that same time, we hope that we can start the Ritter Drive roundabout, and that would take the whole summer as well. 5600 still under construction, but they are going to change the way that you access the frontage road there, Freedom Park Drive, and some other movements. Basically, they're going to push all those movements away from the intersection where the bridge is so that they can work on that. So that'll be a new traffic pattern that we won't be used to. There will be construction on 1500 West with the America First project, so they'll be completing that road. They're working on getting some really critical components for the water line that crosses that road. If they get it, they'll be able to finish that road in 2025. If they miss that window, then that road won't be finished until 2026. So that we're crossing our fingers and doing everything we can do to help that contractor and America First to do that. Thanks to those who came to the Smoked Taco ribbon cutting. I was impressed with their food.
It was really good.
Yeah. So they were very grateful, nice guys, and I think that's been a long-awaited treat. And then just the normal things are happening. The Kia is wrapping up. The extra large DX store where Aaron's used to be, they're going through their inspections. You'll see some signage pop up on the building soon, I think. And then Coleman View just recorded their second phase plat. So we've got Fieldstone in phase 1 primarily, and then Alpine Homes will begin construction in phase 2. And they'll roll out, I think, 8 homes in phase 2. And Fieldstone is permitted for, I know of about 4. One is the model. So there'll be a number of homes pop up, and most of them are spec homes, except for the 2 models. Most of them are spec homes. So they'll get through that inventory as quick as they can, and then that'll promote other builds throughout the neighborhood. Any questions about what's going on?
I've got one. We had the design review committee meeting on Trader Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
Will they be presenting anything that we will have to address because it's all within the existing property and the use of that property?
Right. It's an interior tenant improvement application, so it'll go through the building department. There are a few adjustments to the site, mostly in taking up some pavement and regrading it. So it didn't really rise to the level of a site plan, I thought. Same thing with the Mission Barbecue. We did the the DRC meeting for Mission Barbecue going in at the Honey Baked Ham, and they've got a few minor site improvements. They're going to move a tree and put in some ADA stalls. So nothing that rose to the level of a site plan review. That'll be reviewed by our building official and permitted under the building permit process.
Okay.
Is Honey Baked Ham going out?
So do we have any dates for Trader Joe's, or it is gonna be part of Ashley Furniture, right?
So Ashley owns that whole big building.
Okay, and then you're gonna cut part of it in half and have them to them, or have?
That's right. So there's a demising wall in between the big part and the little part. And Trader Joe's will do a storefront remodel. So they'll punch in some new windows and put in a kind of it's called a parapet wall. So it'll extend the front of the facade and do some paint and some exterior work with their cart corral and things like that. So it'll be really nice. In fact, for our work session next meeting, I'll bring the drawings that were approved in the DRC, and I'll show you what those look like now that we can talk about it.
So do we have a date?
They hope to be under construction February 16th. That's the Ashley's kind of landlord part. And then they hope to turn that over to Trader Joe's to be done sometime in June, I think. But that's construction, so don't quote me on it.
Okay, the other question I have is on 4400 going west. They've closed part of that down. What is that for the bridge?
It is.
That was just for bridge repair.
It's temporary.
It's
Yeah.
back open.
It's open now.
Okay.
And
They just repaired the structure a little bit.
Yeah.
And that raises a question too, with 4400 and everything that's going to be happening there if they award that in April, will there still be any type of access through 4400?
I don't know what construction means and methods they'll employ, but Sean Douglas, our public works director, has made it clear that we intend for them to keep at least one lane open. And at least one of the bridges will be built off to the side and then kind of flew in. So that's a really efficient way of doing something that's really complex. So that should help. And yeah, so we need that to be kept open, at least one lane. And we have some new drawings of what that will look like as well that I could potentially bring to you and show you. All of the art features and the things that are on the wall now, those are going back, which is nice.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? All right, let's move on to next, item D, our consent items. Consideration of meeting minutes from December 10th, 2024 for the work session and regular meeting. Any corrections otherwise, other than what we've already addressed, that we need to have entered?
I think everything else looked correct, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 10th, 2024 work session and regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's unanimous. Next, action items. Item E, consideration of subdivision plat amendment for 2 lots within the Parks Riverwalk PRUD subdivision located at approximately 4318 and 4324 South Riverwalk Drive, as requested by Kent Hill.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is he not coming?
Cooper.
I invited him. I haven't heard from him, so I'm not sure. Okay, this is, as the chair said, this is a subdivision amendment to an existing subdivision. A little background first, I think, is in order. This is just right there by the kayak parks. There's the aerial map. This is a subdivision plat that was approved in 2008, and then shortly thereafter, there were a number of homes built there. You can see those in the picture. It was amended in 2014. After construction had started, there was some realization that the way that it was configured wasn't consistent with some of the houses that they wanted to build. So there was an amendment in 2014, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And all of this is in your packet, of course. And so as this comes in as a subdivision amendment, we look at our code for the review. Section 1022 is our subdivision section. And then because this is an R2 zone, we look and make sure that any amendments are compliant with the residential zone that it's in. Then 1025 and 1014 are just general guidelines and regulations for development in all zones. So here's the current subdivision plat. Again, if you notice on the top, it says Parks Riverwalk PRUD amended. And this is the 2014 plat. So this is how it exists today. It's about 3 acres total. There's 12 lots and there's 11 homes. So there's still a lot that's owned by Mr. Hill that's vacant. And that's part of the reason why he is requesting this amendment. So everything but lot 13 is built out. There is the requisite open space that was necessary at the time that this was approved back in 2014. So essentially, if you've been there, it's an operating residential neighborhood except for a single empty lot. The amendment that's being requested is, let me go back to this. So you can see the blue circle and the blue rectangle. They're pretty faint, but that's the area in which the proposed amendment is amending. And I'll get to those here in just a sec. So the amendment is just looking at lots 13 and 12, and they relabel them 13A and 12A in this amendment. Lot 13A increases from 938 square feet, which is currently its size, to 10,192 square feet. And the way that that's being done is a shift of lot 12A. So the property line on the north end shrinks, and the property line on the frontage across the street grows. So it shrinks on the back by 5 feet and grows on the front by 7 feet. And so that allows lot 13, which is now 13A, to shift just a little bit and provides a little bit more space for 13A. Lot 12A, which is lot 12 currently, actually grows just a little bit too because of the way that it's gaining some more frontage in the front. And so all this is appropriate. A couple of the considerations that we looked at outside of the normal code review is the ownership. So on lot 12 and 12A, Jerry Wayne and Christine Brandon own that lot. And so we wanted to make sure that they were aware of this amendment. So they've provided to us an affidavit, which is in your packet, that not only agrees to the terms that are being proposed, but assigns Kent Hill as their agent. And so that's appropriate as well. The other thing that this plat is seeking to do is to bring in that little square off to the right of 13A. If you go back to the previous plat, that was owned by Mr. Hill at one point, and then it was sold off to the current owners now. And that was part of that lot to the north, which was outside of the subdivision at the original platting and at the First Amendment. And so Mr. Hill has been working on that for many years, actually. And so he has ownership of that little square and has now proposed to bring it in and incorporate it into lot 13A as part of that property.
Right now, it's part of open space. Is that correct?
Nope, it's part of the neighbors to the north that's outside.
Okay. All right.
So nothing that is being proposed in the new plat affects the open space.
Okay.
And the purpose for which he wants to do this is to build a new home on the property and an accessory building on that little side piece that he's incorporating into lot 13A.
An ADU?
No, an accessory building.
Oh,
So ADU is a dwelling unit.
Right.
Accessory building is a shed.
just a shed.
Yep,
Okay.
above
All
200
right.
square feet.
So it'll be a residential unit and a shed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So it'll be a home similar to the homes that are there now, and then he'll just have a little extra piece to put in a shed. And that shed, as an accessory building, has its own rules, and he would submit for a building permit, just like he would on the house, and we would look at all the setbacks and the height and the distance from the home and all the things that regulate an accessory building. So by approving this plat amendment, by no means is that a approval to build either the home or any accessory building. It's just amending the plat in accordance to our rules. Speaking of rules, the Utah Code is very specific about subdivision amendments. They've focused on this over the last few years, so I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Essentially, any fee owner of land can subdivide their platted property with a written petition with the Land Use Authority, which is the Planning Commission. And this happens if that portion that's being amended is owned by the petitioner, essentially. So if Mr. Hill didn't have ownership of this and didn't receive authority from the adjacent owner as an agent to do any of this, then we'd have a different process. But because this is essentially amending his property, it's good. And then as part of that, we're required to send out a letter to any entity that services the subdivision, so Rocky Mountain Power, Dominion Energy, or whatever their name is now, all of the utilities. And so we've done that. We did that about 14 days ago. I think the limit's 10. We received no issues back from any of the service providers, as you might imagine. And
So does that become a no news is good news?
correct. Yep, no big deal. And there's no reason to hold a public hearing because, again, the owner within the plat that's notified us for the amendment is the one that's actually making the amendment, and we haven't received any contrary information from the neighbors, the other property owner that's party to the plat, any of those things. So no news is good news. So with all this, we recommend approval, subject to obviously printing the final Mylar. Now, with the subdivision amendments that I've just described in state code, this does not go to the city council. So this is a final approval by the planning commission because you are designated the land use authority. Based on your action tonight, Mr. Hill would print a final Mylar and we would get the appropriate signatures. Here's an example of what that looks like. Whoops. So you've got the city attorney, planning commission, the chair would sign that, the city engineer, so a number of folks. And once that's properly signed, then Mr. Hill would take that to the county to record. So that is our recommendation, that your decision is based on that action taking place. And so as typical, your determination for action is either approve subject to our recommendations, approve with any modifications that you might have based on what I've talked about, or deny.
Will you please show me again exactly where this piece of property is?
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to
This is the kayak park right over here.
kayak
the
park.
river.
Now where's the kayak?
That's the river.
The river.
Oh, that's the river.
Yeah, so over here is where the trailer homes are.
Okay.
And then Sinclair's would be down this way.
St. Clair's down here. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so these are trailer houses right here.
Yeah, so this is where you would turn down your first, this would be your
Okay.
first right after going through
Okay.
Riverdale Road to 700.
So is it
And
the
then
gingerbread
if you turn on
house
4300 over here, then that's where you would go back down here. And then this is the river flowing right there.
See if she gets there.
Now that's a dead end street right there, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We can pull up a larger map of the city if you'd like to look at it.
And now I understand. I mean, I've been back there. Yeah, those are very nice areas back there.
They are.
You should recognize this area from all of the kayaking that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. And you've seen me doing it, huh?
roll down?
I'd like to make a favorable recommendation to consideration of the subdivision plat amendment for 2 lots within the Parks River Walk PRUD subdivision located at approximately 4318 and 4324 South Riverwalk Drive, as requested by Kent Hill.
Okay, so we have a motion. Any discussion on the motion or any other
I just
questions?
had one question. In the staff report, then it said there were 2 items from engineering and community development, the required resubmittal. Were those taken care of? Did I miss something in there?
Yeah, I was struggling with my Word, the software that I'm using for the corrections report, and so I wasn't able to save that into a PDF. So that's the original. Once we receive the second submittal, I usually send out a fully resolved correction report, and I couldn't put it in the packet because of the PDF issues I was having.
Okay, but it has been,
Yes.
those issues have been
Yeah,
resolved.
thank you for
Okay.
making that part of the record. And Chair, if I may, just a small minor correction. So this wouldn't be a favorable recommendation. This is a final approval.
Okay. So do you want to amend that then?
I'll amend it and make it a final approval.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other points of discussion on the motion?
Everything looks to be in order, so I will second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Michelle, would you poll the commissioners, please?
Commissioner Spires,
Yes.
Commissioner Nye,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes?
Commissioner Polson,
Yes.
Commissioner Noland,
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, and that will take place. Thank you. Next will be item 2, commission voting on selecting planning commission vice chair member. What do you think you're doing?
Gonna let Brandon get some hair back.
I didn't know it'd be that easy, did you?
I think Celeste would be a great candidate.
So is that a nomination?
That's a nomination. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so we have, I'm not sure exactly the process on this.
think
Do we have a
we-
second as well?
Yeah, it'd be a nomination, a second, and then just all in favor.
What all does that duty entail?
If he's not here, then you run the meeting.
Next week.
Or
We don't have a meeting next week.
or if there's things that need to be signed or anything like that, then you sign those things.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm gonna be gone
That's
in
why we're
February,
doing this
the
today.
next meeting.
Is because,
That's why I brought this up with
yeah,
Brandon and
Oh, yeah.
with Michelle.
we won't have anyone to run a meeting if we don't assign a new one.
Are you talking about
Oh,
February 11th?
February.
No, it's
yeah.
February. Sorry, it's February that I'll be gone.
I will also be gone February 11th.
Oh, that doesn't.
Good thing
Unless
there's
you want to
nothing.
nominate
Nomination.
someone else.
I
There's
don't think
nothing.
that should be a decision because they're going to be gone that one day. I
Yeah.
think that, I think
Yeah, yeah.
Celeste would be a wonderful candidate.
All right, is that a second?
As a second.
Okay. Do we have any other motions for nominations?
I would move that nominations be closed.
Okay, we have a motion to close nominations. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, Ray.
Okay, so we have a second. So, do you want to make a speech?
I'm not good with speeches, so no.
You're very good upstairs.
We should just do a vote.
No, that's what I mean. We need to
My
do the
only
vote,
speech
but
is
before
that
we
we will
vote, I
miss-
wanted to see if she had anything to say.
It won't be the same.
Yeah.
You can come visit anytime you want, though.
Okay.
You've done a lot of good. We appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah.
your
Thank
service
you.
to the
I've
city.
enjoyed serving. It's time to let somebody else serve.
Well, let's take a vote. So, Michelle, would you poll the commissioners?
Commissioner Polson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nye,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Herman,
Yes?
Commissioner Spires,
Yes.
Commissioner Noland.
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Oh,
unanimous.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take a moment just to say how much I've appreciated working with you. You've been an example. When I first came on the commission, you were the the chair.
Was I?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And so I've learned tons from you.
Well, thank you.
You've got a good critical mind and looking and examining, and your background helped that immensely. So, and I'm glad that we've got Commissioner Polson, who will still have that consistency with real estate issues.
Thank you.
So, all of you, I really appreciate all of the things that you do and what you bring to the commission. I think that Riverdale City really has a top-notch commission. And it's not just because I want to pat myself on the back. It's all of us collectively looking out for the welfare of the city. And you've done a marvelous job with that.
Oh,
And so
thank
thank you.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. It's been an honor to serve. It's been a total honor.
Now, we can adjourn, and Mr. Cooper suggested that if you like, and if you have time, we can continue our work session and adjourn upstairs and continue the discussion that what we were having with those other concepts for the city. What say y'all?
I have a commitment.
I think I would prefer to think on it for a little while and come back to it next meeting.
Okay?
That makes sense.
Can we
If we all
calendar
maybe came
that
prepared.
for, to be continued in our next work session then? I'd like to see that.
Yeah, work sessions are flexible, as it states in the agenda, to talk about concepts. And so if that's what you'd like to do, I'll bring those same drawings in the next meeting. We can continue the conversation. This isn't a request for action. It's not even a formal submittal. It's just, I thought it was prudent, given how impactful that proposal could be, that we give some feedback and direction to the property owner before he spends any more time or money chasing a ghost.
For sure.
Well, yeah, he's already
Exactly.
spent some time in drawings and concepts and things like that.
And that's not cheap.
Right. So I'm very encouraged about the conversation. I think we're on the right track. So as you think about it, consider what we've talked about in terms of, should it stay commercial? If not, then what should it be, really, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we could all think on it a little more,
Yeah.
do a little research into some ideas and come prepared to talk about it next time.
You sure you don't want to come back? And
You want my opinion?
I do. I'm going to email you.
We'll save time for you in public comment.
I'll just be down here.
Just
I'll
call
show
in.
up for public comment.
Just call in.
Still has one more meeting. So.
Oh, that's right.
If we have it, yeah.
Oh, we're having it.
Just for this. Just for this.
Just for you. I'm bringing cookies. I said I'm bringing cookies
I'll be here
for your
you.
send off.
I'll be.
And those last cookies she brought
Oh
were awesome.
man, those were amazing.
I'd like to recommend that we adjourn.
I second.
Would that be a motion?
That is definitely a motion.
Okay. So we have a motion
I second.
and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
job, one.
we be done.
Good meeting.
So,
Thank you. We
Celeste, you'll sit up here from now on.
I just jumped like
Yeah.
3 spots.
You went from there to there to there, yeah.
Kind of like playing sorry, huh?
And then you slide
Sorry.
back down.
So where are you headed in February?
Or shoot some ladders.
I'm going to